I have been making films for as long as I can remember. I've grown up in a family of photographers and cinematographers, which in effect has definitely encouraged me to engage in the world of film. But that's definitely not all there is to it. Let me tell you my story. The first film I ever published was the J&S Show, which I made when I was about 7 years old. It was pretty much just my friend Sloan and I messing around with the camera on my dad's Mac and editing it together using iMovie. But it sticks with me to this day because back then I had no clue I would eventually take that process of filming, editing, and publishing seriously. I had no clue I was getting involved with a bigger picture being laid out for me. I was just doing what I felt was fun. And that film was really the beginning of my film story. From that point on, I started making films as often as I could. Usually very silly films that had no true story, but yet they were still my first films. And they're still today hilarious because they are so bad, but I had to start somewhere. Those first films are where my roots were founded, where a base for the future of my films was placed. And so at school, people started calling me the movie kid, and they would constantly ask me about my films. Throughout the rest of my elementary school years, any chance I got, I would try to make a film. Usually they were still just funny compilations of me dancing and singing to a song. But it ended up getting to the point where me and my brother worked on a film called Unending Epicness, which I don't know how to describe, but was and still is today a fantastic film of me running around and dodging explosions. I actually showed it to my entire 5th grade class, and people received it really well. And that's when I clicked for the first time. I was kind of like, people enjoy what I can do. They find it entertaining and want me to make more. So I set out on my quest for a camera, scavenging any quarters and dollars I could find, and I bought my first camera, a Kodak PlaySport. And I started filming more often. I recorded my trips, my adventures, and really just life in general, until 7th grade came around. And I went on this amazing church camp called The Great Escape, where I really learned that all of this time where I thought I had been accidentally training myself to become a better filmer, it was all really in God's plan for me. God has been working in me since birth to be involved in cinematography, and to this day I still believe this is what He is calling me to do with my life. It's not the only thing He's calling me to do, but it is a very strong part of my character that He has shaped throughout my life. And after that experience, I made what I consider my first real film. It had no narration or special editing techniques, but it was the first film I made that was truly from my heart and that inspired others. I created my YouTube channel on my 13th birthday and posted the film. After that, things really began to pick up. I set out to share a basic summary of who I was and to introduce myself to my audience, which got very popular and even got showed on my middle school news channel. And that in fact inspired a few others of my friends to allow me to tell their story as well. I called this series the Who I Am series. But during the whole time of editing those films and rewatching them over and over, I realized something was missing from my films. It was a lack of true inspiration and telling a true story. There was no message being told to the audience. So I created my second series, You Are Alive, which emphasized and still emphasizes today on how you are alive and you need to live your life to the fullest, striving to find your purpose, go on adventures, and have hope even through the conflict. In a way, I started to stand out from the rest of my peers because I could do something none of them had ever tried. Then my 14th birthday came around, and my grandparents bought me a new camera, a Nikon D7200, which I am super grateful for, and it has absolutely changed my life. It opened new doors of creativity and cinematography styles I had never had control of before. To this day, I don't believe I deserve a camera of this quality, but I will be forever grateful that it was given to me. So with this new power, I decided to try and make a film about the meaning of life. And it ended up to be a pretty decent film, but not a great one. It didn't feel finished, and I had spent months on it only to realize I no longer felt inspired. I felt as if the film's messages became very blurred, so I set it off to the side and haven't touched it since. But maybe one day I will try to recreate it. Yet, through that process of failing a film, I started to truly live out the things I was preaching in the film. The messages I was trying to show to my audience, I started to live into. And then something completely unexpected happened. I was sent an anonymous letter with a check written to my name. And I remember after the letter going, "Who am I to deserve such a gift?" I started running around, thanking God and the anonymous supporter. It was a life-changing moment I will never forget, and I wake up every morning to see that message on my bulletin board just so I can say, I have to keep going, keep pushing, because people are counting on me. The world is counting on me. And from that point on, I have been really sharpening my filming and editing skills. I have made a few films this year, but if I'm speaking truthfully, the more recent ones were more of just practice films. They didn't really send a clear message or inspirational themes, partially because they were rushed and unfinished. Being a freshman in high school involved in many extracurricular activities makes it hard for me to make films this year. Currently, I'm working on multiple films, for different people and for YouTube, all of which is putting an insane amount of stress on me. But I think it's good. It's really getting me evolved back into cinematography and getting my filming creativity really kicking into gear again. From this point on, I promise I will make higher quality films, with a much more clear and inspirational message. I'm hoping to do less of my whole narration in my closet with cool looking footage and more heartfelt, planned out films. I'm going to try harder to no longer walk by what I see, but by my faith in God to guide me in where I should go with my story of film and with my life. I hope that I can keep making films for the rest of my life. I hope that I can keep inspiring other people and show them the love of God through my films. Even if I am just changing the life of one person, it's worth my time, my effort, and it'll pay off in the end. So I would like to thank God for everything He has done for me and is doing for me and will do for me in the future to come. I would like to thank Him for choosing me to breathe through and to inspire the world. I would like to thank my family for always supporting me and pushing me forwards, as well as my friends, for often the messages I am sharing with the world I received through experiences with my friends. And I would like to thank my audience. I would like to thank you for watching my films, for supporting me and investing in me. I'm not done making films, and I never will be. I have a lot of work ahead of me, but it'll be worth it. My name is Joseph Colleen. I am a child of God, a cinematographer, and I'm going to change the world. Through my films, through my faith, through my athletics, and by telling my story.